At every income level, people fall into one of the following three categories. Number 1, people who spend more than they earn, accumulating debt. Number 2, people who spend all that they earn, saving nothing, breaking even. Number 3, people who save 2, 5, 10, or even 20% or more, growing savings. A great many people live on less than you make. If you spend as they do, you can save and invest the difference. In this course, Getting Started with Money Management, we examine why people overspend and help you look at your own spending habits. When you know where your money goes, you can find ways to spend less and save more so that someday you too can live richly and achieve your financial and life goals. It's entirely possible that in part, because of the relatively high cost of living where you currently live, you may feel that you don't have much, if any, ability to really lower your expenses. That may be true, but this may get you thinking about moving or taking a job in a location with more reasonable costs. In a strong economy, or if you work in an in-demand occupation, you may have more options than you realize. If you're like most people, you must live within your means to accomplish your financial goals. Doing so requires spending less than you earn and then investing your savings intelligently, unless you plan on winning the lottery or receiving a large inheritance. To put yourself in a position that allows you to start saving, take a close look at your spending habits. Many folks earn just enough to make ends meet. And some can't even do that, they simply spend more than they make. The result of such spending habits is, of course, an accumulation of debt. Most of the influences in society encourage you to spend. Think about it. More often than not, you're referred to as a consumer in the media and in the hallowed halls of government. You're not referred to as a person, a citizen, or a human being. This section looks at some of the adversaries you're up against as you attempt to control your spending. Number 1, having access to credit. As you probably already know, spending money is easy. Thanks to innovations like ATMs, credit cards, PayPal, Venmo, and so on, your money is always available, 24/7. Sometimes it may seem as though lenders are trying to give away money by making credit so easily available. But this free money is a dangerous illusion. Credit is most perilous when you make consumption purchases you can't afford in the first place. When it comes to consumer debt, credit cards, auto loans, and the like, lenders aren't giving away anything except the misfortune of getting in over your head, racking up high interest charges, and delaying your progress toward your financial and personal goals. Number 2, misusing credit cards. The modern-day bank credit card was invented by the Bank of America near the end of the baby boom. The credit industry has been generally growing ever since. If you pay your bill in full every month, credit cards offer a convenient way to buy things with an interest-free, short-term loan. But if you carry your debt over from month to month at high interest rates, credit cards encourage you to live beyond your means. Credit cards make it easy and tempting to spend money that you don't have. Number 3, taking out car loans. Walking onto a car lot and going home with a new car that you could never afford if you had to pay cash is easy. The dealer gets you thinking in terms of monthly payments that sounds small when compared to what that four-wheeler is really gonna cost you. Auto loans are easy for just about anyone to get. Number 4, bending to outside influences and agendas. You go out with some friends to dinner, a sporting event, or a show. Try to remember the last time one of you said, "Let's go someplace," or do something less costly. I can't afford to spend this much. On the one hand, you don't want to be a stick in the mud. But on the other hand, some of your friends may have more money than you do, and the ones who don't maybe run up debt fast. Number 5, spending to feel good. Life is full of stress, obligations, and demands. I work hard, you may say, and darn it, I deserve to indulge. Especially after your boss took the credit for your most recent great idea, or blamed you for her latest screw-up. So, you buy something expensive or go to a fancy restaurant to feel better. You probably won't when the bill arrives. And the more you spend, the less you save, and the longer you'll be stuck working for jerks like your boss. Brushing your teeth, eating a diverse and healthy diet, and exercising regularly are good habits. Spending less than you earn, and saving enough to meet your future financial objectives are the financial equivalents of these habits. Despite relatively high incomes compared with the rest of the world, some Americans have a hard time saving a good percentage of their incomes. Why? Often it's because they spend too much, sometimes far more than necessary. The first step to saving more of the income that you work so hard for is to figure out where that income typically gets spent. The spending analysis helps you determine where your cash is flowing. Do the spending analysis if any of the following apply to you. Number 1, you aren't saving enough money to meet your financial goals. Number 2, you feel as though your spending is out of control, or you don't really know where all your income goes. Number 3, you're anticipating a significant life change, for example, marriage, leaving your job to start a business, having children, retiring, and so on. If you're already a good saver, you may not need to complete the spending analysis. After you save enough to accomplish your goals, we don't see as much value in continually tracking your spending. You've already established the good habit, saving. Tracking exactly where you spend your money month after month is not a good habit. The immediate goal of a spending analysis is to figure out where you typically spend your money. The long-range goal is to establish a good habit, maintaining a regular automatic savings routine. Notice the first 4 letters in the word analysis. Knowing where your money is going each month is useful, and making changes in your spending behavior and cutting out the fat so you can save more money and meet your financial goals is terrific. However, you may make yourself and those around you miserable if you're anal about documenting precisely where you spend every single dollar and cent. Saving what you need to achieve your goals is what matters most. Analyzing your spending is a little bit like being a detective. Your goal is to reconstruct the spending. You probably have some major clues at your fingertips, or somewhere on the desk or computer where you handle your finances. Unless you keep meticulous records that detail every dollar you spend, you won't have perfect information. Don't sweat it. A number of sources can enable you to detail where you've been spending your money. To get started, get access your number 1, recent pay stubs, number 2, recent tax returns, federal and state. Number 3, online banking bill payment record. Number 4, the log of checks paid and monthly debit card transactions. Number 5, credit and charge card bills and transactions. Ideally, you want to assemble the information needed to track 12 months of spending. But if your spending patterns don't fluctuate greatly from month to month, or you won't complete the exercise if it means compiling a year's worth of data, you can reduce your data gathering to 1 6-month period, or to every second or third month for the past year. If you take a major vacation, or spend a large amount on gifts during certain months of the year, make sure that you include these months in your analysis. Also account for insurance or other financial payments that you may choose not to pay monthly, and instead pay quarterly, semi-annually, or annually. Purchases made with cash are the hardest to track because they don't leave a paper trail. Over the course of a week or perhaps even a month, you could keep a record of everything you buy with cash. Tracking cash can be an enlightening exercise, but it can also be tedious. Software programs, apps, and websites can assist you with paying bills and tracking your spending. The main advantage of using these is that you can continually track your spending as long as you keep entering the information. Such tools can even help speed up the check writing process after you figure out how to use them, which isn't always an easy thing to do. But you don't need a computer and fancy software to pay your bills and figure out where you're spending money. Many people we know stop entering data after a few months. If tracking your spending is what you're after, you need to enter information from the bills you pay by check and the expenses you pay by credit card and cash. In this section, we help you think and dream about what you want to get out of life. Although our expertise is in personal finance, we wouldn't be doing our job if we didn't get you to consider your non-financial goals and how money fits into the rest of your life goals. So, before we jump into how to establish and save toward common financial goals, we discuss how to think about making and saving money, as well as how to best fit your financial goals into the rest of your life. Peruse most magazines, newspapers, or websites, and you'll often see our culture's obsession with financial wealth. The more money financial executives, movie stars, or professional athletes have, the more publicity and attention they seem to get. In fact, many publications go as far as ranking those people who earn the most or have amassed the greatest wealth. Recall the handful of best moments in your life. Odds are these times don't include the time you bought a car or found a designer sweater that you liked. The old saying is true. The most enjoyable and precious things of value in your life can't be bought. Most people we know have financial goals. The rest of this section discusses the most common financial goals and how to work toward them. See whether any of the following reflect your ambitions. Number 1, owning your home. Renting and dealing with landlords can be a financial and emotional drag, so most folks want to buy into the American dream and own some real estate, the most basic of which is your own home. Number 2, making major purchases. Most folks need to plan ahead for major purchases such as a car, living room furniture, vacations, and so on. Number 3, retiring and achieving financial independence. Retiring doesn't imply sitting on a rocking chair watching the world go by, while hoping that some long-lost friend, your son's or daughter's family, or the neighborhood dog, comes by to visit. Retiring is a catch-all term for discontinuing full-time work, or perhaps not even working for pay at all. Some folks find financial independence more to their liking because it conveys reaching a level of financial security where you no longer have to work full-time or perhaps at all. Number 4. Educating the kids. All those diaper changes, late-night feedings, and trips to the zoo aren't enough to get Junior out of your house and into the real world as a productive, self-sufficient adult. You may want to help your children get a college education. Unfortunately, that can cost a truckload of dough. Number 5. Owning your own business. Many employees want to take on the challenges and rewards that come with being the boss. The primary reason that most people continue just to dream is that they lack the money to leave their primary job. Although many businesses don't require gobs of startup cash, almost all require that you withstand a substantial reduction in your income during the early years. Because everyone is different, you can have goals, other than those in the preceding list, that are unique to your own situation. Accomplishing such goals almost always requires saving money. Unless you earn really big bucks or have a large family inheritance to fall back on, your personal and financial desires will probably outstrip your resources. You must prioritize your goals. One of the biggest mistakes we see people make is rushing into a financial decision without considering what's really important to them. Because many people get caught up in the responsibilities of their daily lives, they often don't have time for reflection. Where possible, try to save and invest in accounts that offer you a tax advantage, which is precisely what retirement accounts do. These accounts, known by such enlightening acronyms and names as 401k, 403b, SEP IRAs, and so on, offer tax breaks to people of all economic means. Consider the following advantages to investing in retirement accounts. Number 1. Contributions are usually tax deductible. By putting money in a retirement account, not only do you plan wisely for your future, but you also get an immediate financial reward, lower taxes, which means more money available for saving and investing. Retirement account contributions generally aren't taxed at either the federal or state income tax level until withdrawal, but they're still subject to Social Security and Medicare taxes when earned. Number 2. In some company retirement accounts, companies match a portion of your own contributions. In addition to tax breaks, you get free extra money courtesy of your employer. Number 3. Returns on your investment compound over time without taxation. After you put money into a retirement account, any interest, dividends, and appreciation add to your account without being taxed. Of course, there's no such thing as a free lunch. These accounts don't allow for complete tax avoidance. Yet you can get a really great lunch at a discount. You get to defer taxes on all the accumulating gains and profits until you withdraw the money down the road. More money is working for you over a longer period of time. Unless you enjoy paying higher taxes, why would you save money outside of retirement accounts, which shelter your money from taxation? The reason is that some financial goals are not easily achieved by saving in retirement accounts. Also, retirement accounts have caps on the amount you can contribute annually. Because you don't know what the future holds, preparing for the unexpected is financially wise. Even if you're the lucky sort who sometimes finds $5 bills on street corners, you can't control the sometimes chaotic world in which we live. Conventional wisdom says that you should have approximately 6 months of living expenses put away for an emergency. This particular amount may or may not be right for you, because it depends, of course, on how expensive the emergency is. Why 6 months anyway, and where should you put it? How much of an emergency stash you need depends on your situation. We recommend saving the following emergency amounts under differing circumstances. Number 1. 3 months living expenses. Choose this option if you have other accounts, such as a 401k, or family members and close friends whom you can tap for a short-term loan. This minimalist approach makes sense when you're trying to maximize investments elsewhere, for example, in retirement accounts, or you have stable sources of income, employment or otherwise. Number 2. 6 months living expenses. This amount is appropriate if you don't have other places to turn for a loan, or you have some instability in your employment situation or source of income. Number 3. Up to 1 year's living expenses. Set aside this much if your income fluctuates wildly from year to year, or if your profession involves a high risk of job loss. Finding another job can take you a long time, and you don't have other places to turn for a loan. If your only current source of emergency funds is a high-interest credit card, first save at least 3 months' worth of living expenses in an accessible account before funding a retirement account or saving for other goals. Many people toil away at work, dreaming about a future in which they can stop the daily commute and grind, get out from under that daily deluge of voicemails, emails, text messages, and other never-ending technological intrusions, and do what they want, when they want. People often assume that this magical day will arrive when they retire, or win the lottery, whichever comes first. Many folks aspire to retire sooner rather than later. But this idea has some obvious problems. First, you set yourself up for disappointment. If you want to retire by your mid-60s, when Social Security kicks in, you need to save enough money to support yourself for 20 to 30 years, maybe longer. 2 to 3 decades is a long time to live off your savings. You're going to need a good-sized chunk of money, more than most people realize. The earlier you hope to retire, the more money you need to set aside, and the sooner you have to start saving, unless you plan to work part-time in retirement to earn more income. If you hope to someday reduce the time you spend working or cease working altogether, you'll need sufficient savings to support yourself. Many people, particularly young people and those who don't work well with numbers, underestimate the amount of money needed to retire. To figure out how much you should save per month to achieve your retirement goals, you need to crunch a few numbers. Don't worry, this number crunching is usually easier than doing your taxes. If you've been working steadily, you may already have a good foundation, even if you haven't been actively saving toward retirement. We walk you through the probable components of your future retirement income and show you how to figure how much you should be saving to reach particular retirement goals. Social Security should be available when you retire, no matter how old you are today. In fact, Social Security is one of the sacred cow political programs. Imagine what would happen to the group of politicians who voted to greatly curtail benefits. Congress may make some reductions in benefits, probably for the highest income earners, at some point, due to the federal debt problems. If you think that you can never retire because you don't have any money saved, we're happy to inform you that you're probably wrong. You likely have some Social Security. But Social Security generally isn't enough to live on comfortably. Pension plans are a benefit offered by some employers, mostly larger organizations, and government agencies. Even if your current employer doesn't offer a pension, you may have earned pension benefits through a previous job. Although each company's plan differs, all plans calculate and pay benefits based on a formula. A typical formula may credit you with 1.5% of your salary for each year of service, full-time employment. For example, if you work for 10 years, you earn a monthly retirement benefit worth 15% of your monthly salary. Pension benefits can be quite valuable. In the better plans, employers put away the equivalent of 5 to 10% of your salary to pay your future pension. This money is in addition to your salary, you never see it in your paycheck, and it isn't taxed. The employer puts this money away in an account for your retirement.